from B to D to F, and then add that G sharp. It's kind of a mellow, dark sound compared to the C major. Here's the C major. Here's the diminished. There's the A minor. The diminished would be, let's say the A minor would be the link, the missing link between the major and the diminished. If you go from the major to the diminished, it's kind of a drastic contrast. But if you go from the major to the minor to the diminished, it's a little softer transition. You know, you're not just going abruptly from and then to. You kind of get to go from. What's the other one? The other one is also equilateral. You know, we talked about this, all equal sides. That's that puts it in the same class and family as this augmented. We'll talk about this augmented now. And it's equal-sided, but it only has 3 notes, 1, 2, 3, and 3-sided. And they call these triad chords. They have 3 notes, that makes them triad, and it's no, you know, stray coincidence that they plot as triangles. Triads plot as triangles. So here's the diminished right here, and then here's the augmented. Here's the major, here's the minor, here's the augmented, and here's diminished. Back to major, major, minor, augmented, diminished, major. And we've just made a song with all the basic chord varieties within the scale. I mean, technically you could say there's just one kind of scale, a major, and one kind of chord. You could say there's one kind of chord and some major chord, and out of that you change the 3rd note in the scale progression, and that will make a minor. You could also change the let's see, you could change, if we had a major, C major, we could drop these two drop down, and that's a diminished. We've diminished the chord. Or we could raise this, the 5th, and the raised 5th, and when I say 5th, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 in the scale progression, and you raise that a half step. And so you can show all the scale, all the chords as being derived from just one chord. So that could say that there's just one chord type and all other chords are derived from the others. But in the application I'm using to say that there's a major and a minor, diminished and an augmented works best. And then all other chords such as minor 6, minor 7, major 6, 9th, all kinds of different ones. And there's hybrids that are part minor, part augmented or diminished, part major, part augmented or diminished. There's chords that are both minor and major played together, and yeah, anyway, so we are doing this right here to show you respects to the line of symmetry. The scale has a line of symmetry, line of symmetry, line of symmetry, line of symmetry, and all the chords line up with respect to that, and they share the same line of symmetry. And that's the key behind solid core symmetry. You have things such as broken symmetry in music, but to break symmetry, you have to have symmetry in the first place. Otherwise, there's nothing to break. So the broken symmetry music has its dynamics, and it keeps symmetry in its shadow. And like they say, whatever's in the shadows kind of is what's shaping it. You know, whatever's creating the shadow is shaping the shadow. Anyway, yeah, the symmetry that's being outlined will even shape whatever symmetry you're trying to get away from if you try to break from symmetry. So the chord fittings into the scale follow the line of symmetry. There are other chords, but these are the primary chords: the primary minor chord, the primary major chord, the primary diminished, the primary augmented. You could fit in here a G major chord, an F major chord, an E minor. You can fit them, and they'll look like they're breaking the symmetry, but either way, they are still conforming to the shape of the scale. They're staying within the bounds of the parent scale, and then the parent scale is still defined by that line of symmetry, and their primary chords are still defined by that symmetry. And so all the other chords that you can make that may fit or may not fit around the symmetry but still fit within the bounds of the scale, all of those are still conforming to the rule of symmetry by following in between the chords that are the primary chords for major, minor, however you look at it. Anyway, we'll get into that. That's hard to explain without doing diagrams. I just wanted to illustrate how the chords and the scales work together. And they're not just working together by fitting into each other, you know, by sheer numbers, you know. Well, 7 fits into 12. If it comes from those 12, it must be related. It's not just that 7 is coming out of 12. It could be any 7, but this is a group of 7 that has dynamic shape. Same thing with the chords. If it's a 3-note chord, if it's a 4-note chord. And not only is it that it has a dynamic shape, but do the shapes array around or with respects to the symmetry for the parent scale. The parent scale would be the scale from which it's derived. So sharing common symmetry. You want to follow the common notes and the common line of symmetry. Now, the line of symmetry can take you out of bounds of common note. So sometimes staying within common notes isn't your only option. Sometimes the line of symmetry, you stay within the line of symmetry, and the line of symmetry will lead you away from the common notes of the, you know, scale. And so we here in C major scale, A minor scale, that G sharp. Let's see. Let's listen. Well, here we're seeing the harmony. Well, let's take that G sharp and put it to the sound test. In the C major application, we have C, D, E, F. So what we've done is we've added G sharp, we've substituted it for G. Maybe even just keep the G in there and add it anyway. Now, an interesting thing, let's try with chords. C chord, let's add that G sharp. C chord, we added the G sharp, and that's what gave us our diminished chord. It's in the family. Let's try we play C, G, These are all basic C major scale chords, and then F, basic C major scale chords. Let's alter this F by adding G sharp. G sharp isn't really in the C major scale, but it is when you go by the line of symmetry. The line of symmetry goes ahead and acts like an umbilical cord. The parent scale is the chromatic scale, and then inside is the offspring scale, which is the major scale, and then you have this umbilical cord linking the offspring scale to the parent scale. And so follow the umbilical cord and you'll have so that would be we're playing C, the umbilical cord note, back, G, F, the umbilical cord note, back to C. Let's try in the A minor context. Here's the A minor scale. Let's substitute the G sharp note. The G sharp note is giving us an alternate version of the A minor scale, and it's giving us one of the either harmonic or melodic version of the minor scale. So I don't even have to worry about memorizing A minor melodic, A minor harmonic, or whatever. I just look at this. There's the scale, there's the line of symmetry. The line of symmetry is an umbilical cord stretching it into G sharp. And then I throw G sharp in there. If I'm playing any chord within this scale that's extremely related, every note in the chord fits into somewhere in the scale. Nothing deviates. Then I can try finding a way that this G sharp will fit into the chord, and it'll fit. Already the diminished, it's fit. The augmented, it's naturally fit. Now when I'm playing A minor chord, I can fit it in there. When I'm playing a C major chord, I fit it in there. Well, anyway, fitting it into C major will turn it into an augmented, so that's covered. Fitting it into A minor will put it into the A minor melodic or harmonic grouping. And you can put it into the F chord, the G chord. If there's a G note in the scale, there will be a relative G chord. If there's an F note in the scale, there will be a relative G chord. Same thing with E. This E is likely an E minor. This D is likely a D minor. This C major. This B would be more the diminished. This A would be a minor. This G would be a major, major, minor, minor, major. You actually have 3 majors and 3 minors, and then 1 diminished. That's how you comprise the 7 notes and their corresponding chords. 3 of either major or minor, and then 1 left over, which turns out to be diminished. And then this G sharp, you augment your C major, and then you get your augmented chord, and you're covered for all your chords. The only things you can do now for a variety of chords is to expand your chords. Make a C major minor 7th, or C major 7th, or C6, or A minor 6, and do that to the G chords, the F chords, whatever. And you can throw the G sharp into whatever chord you choose and figure things out. Now, ways of expanding out of this scale entirely through the G sharp will appear. You can expand into other scales that have this note in common as far as the out